Hello Facebook land, it is Trudy here from This Chick Means Business coming to you live. I've just realised, there we go, I'm just going to put my mic like that. It may not look pretty, but it's on. So today I thought I would do the Q&A. I do have another webinar, another free training coming up on the 4th of July, which is the steps for successfully moving out of startup. But I also know people sometimes always don't want to wait for that. So if you're here, I applaud you, or if you're jumping on or watching the replay, I hope that I actually can support you. So I did have a few questions and a few general things that did come through for today. And because I like to be prepared, I've also got some notes and things that I can cover as well. So I'm going to be covering off niche, messaging, content, courses, products and services, systems, mindset and sales. The gorgeous Sinead Carey, who is an absolute gem at helping you with your Facebook page, asked me about a sales template and getting that set up. So we will be covering that as well. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is niching and finding your ideal client. And it's one of those things that I have struggled with it. I've made it really complicated, and I've now come to a space where I've made the decision that niching is easy because I've decided to let it be. And one of the biggest things with niche, before you get into demographics, psychographics, how you find them, discovering their pain points, what I found is actually giving yourself permission to choose to work with the clients that light you up. That is the first decision that you have to make. And I spent a lot of time going after the clients that I thought I should be going after, that people told me, well, these clients will pay for your services. And I wasn't necessarily always going for the clients that lit me up. And now, with the work that I'm doing and how I've laser focused down on my niche, and we'll talk about this in a moment, I'm really excited, because this is the thing. When you are working with the clients that light you up, you get so excited about your work. You wake up in the morning, you're on message, you're on task, you know what you want to do, and business actually becomes easier. So do yourself a favor, and whether you go and sit down for 5-10 minutes and just really meditate and tap into it energetically, or you go through your client notes and see which clients you enjoyed working with the most, give yourself permission to find those people to work with. So niching, if you're sort of starting out in business, this is something that my mentor Benjamin J. Harvey taught me. Here's a really simple question to get started. What do I want to help people create, become, or avoid? It's a great starting point, because then through that, I want to help women create purpose-driven businesses that light them up, create income, and get them jumping out of bed with joy every day. Or I want to help women avoid getting stuck in startup and not really ever taking the proactive actions to grow their business. Or I want to help women become CEOs of their own business and feel empowered in that and create wealth and a legacy. Which one, resonates with me? If you go through that question, all of a sudden you can then start creating the content, the courses, the freebies, the paid offers that are going to really attract your tribe to you. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are actually really afraid of niche, but niche sets you free. It gives you the space to be focused and really open up your creativity to build a business that you love. So that's a really simple way to get started on niche. And then after that, if you want to go more in depth, you do the demographics. You can look at the age. Are they married? Do they have kids? Are they full-time in their business? Are they more entrepreneurial? All that kind of stuff. And then you move into the psychographics, their motivations, what drives them, their deeper secrets, the things they're worried about, the things they love. So that's that next level with niching. But if you can really tap into what lights you up to do with your work and the kinds of people you want to help, start there. And remember, that all starts with giving yourself permission. So what's the next thing I want to talk about? Now let me see, I can't see if anyone's there. I saw a like come up before, so I might actually struggle to answer your questions. So I might just be talking at you for a little while. Whoops. Anyway, let's get on to messaging. Now, you can write a really, really generic message that may land with a few people, or you can write a message that calls to people, fills their hearts, and makes them go, yes, that person gets me. So you have a choice. And this ties back into your niching, right? So if you're really well niched, the messaging becomes really easy. So you can move from going in a space of, I help women grow their business, to, I help women move out of startup and start laying really powerful foundations in the growth phase of business. So when they are ready to move into the online launching phase, they're systemized and their products are ready to go and their messaging is clear. So that simplifies the launch process. Boom, right? So you can see the clarity that people get from niching, and then your ability to be able to really develop a message that lands, a message that works. And for those of you, if you're watching this on repeat after the live is finished, please write your questions and your comments on there. What are your biggest struggles with messaging? Because I know before I really gave myself permission to niche down to the people that really excited me to be working with, I was really struggling with my message sounding really generic and dull, and it wasn't landing. So feel free to pop some copy down in the bottom of the Q&A in the questions, and I can have a look at it later. So messaging is really important. And I remembered the other thing I wanted to talk about now on today's live. So many cool business things to talk about. So when you're niching and your messaging is right, and when you feel really comfortable with it or feel that you've hit the mark, the next problem that I see a lot of women facing is the visibility component. Where do I show up? Where do I find these amazing future clients of mine? How do I do this in a way that works for me? Visibility is a huge thing. Now, the written word is always going to be very, very powerful. But one of the biggest favors you can do yourself is getting comfortable with video, with going live. So I'm not acknowledging that I can see, I'm at my friend's house and I can see her dog running back and forth behind me. You can see his little tail over my shoulder. Hopefully my mic is focused enough on me that you can't hear him barking. So visibility and being comfortable on camera is going to be one of those things that's going to really allow you to powerfully share your message and get seen by an even wider audience. 80% of content is going to be consumed via video. Marketing messages, people love watching video. Put the transcribe it and have the words below the screen, like while you're speaking, so then people can see you and read what you're talking about if they're in an office environment and so they can't play you out loud or put the headphones on. Visibility is the hugest thing, and it ties in with mindset, which is another thing I want to talk about. If you're not comfortable being seen, it's something that you have to work with. It's actually a non-negotiable, because the days of hope marketing doesn't work. Hoping that somebody will see your thing, hoping that somebody will refer you, it's not enough. And we need to find ways to feel comfortable and empower ourselves to be on video and to be on camera. Now, I've had people say to me that I make it look easy. I tell you what, if you had have seen me 6 or 7 years ago doing video, you would laugh hysterically. I was a nervous wreck, absolute nervous wreck. But I made the decision to learn how to speak, probably even longer than that, learn how to craft the content, and I gave myself permission to fail. There's a little learning distinction that I use, dare to suck. I gave myself permission to dare to suck, to stuff things up. And this is before live video. So my poor business partner, he ended up setting me up with a teleprompter. So I could take the stress away. Whatever you have to do, you have to get comfortable with speaking to camera and being live. You may have noticed that the last 3 weeks I've pretty much done a live video every day. That's been easy because I know my niche and I'm clear on my message, so it makes the video and the content stuff easier to do, right? But it all begins with practice. And visibility is also, where are you showing up? Where are you online? Where are your people online? So for me, I'm working with women that have been in business for a little while. Being highly visible on LinkedIn, probably not really my ideal space to be. Now, I do share things there semi-regularly, enough to sort of keep my profile interesting. But you've got to go where your clients are. Now, everyone's clients are on Facebook. Everyone has a Facebook, pretty much. It's a generalization. But you're always going to find your clients here. But do you need to learn Pinterest? Do you need to know Instagram? What other social media channels are there? And how do you be visible on that? Now, I don't have all of the answers for all of the things, but you have to get comfortable with being seen. And the clearer you are on your message, the more empowered you are feeling about going out and finding those ideal clients, because you know your niche, the easier it becomes. Now, ladies, I run a group called Chicks That Mean Business. You're more than welcome to join that group. Search it on Facebook, it'll pop up, or scroll through my feed. And then on the theme days, practice doing live, talking about whatever the topic is for the day. So the boardroom meeting, you might want to come to the board and present on Thursdays, present something that was really successful in your business and share how it worked. Do it via live, get comfortable. So that's visibility. So let's chat about, I'm just keeping an eye on the time. Oh, God, I'm good at talking. So let's talk about content, because this is a nice little flow for you. So you know your niche, you're on message, you know what they need to hear, you're feeling comfortable about being visible and you're ready to show up. What do you deliver to people? That would be your content, right? So I'm in launch for the Beyond Startup Mastermind. That starts in 5 weeks. Shameless plug. It's my live. I can say what I want. And I sat down, and because I was so clear on what my potential clients were looking for, not necessarily what I think they need right now, but the kinds of solutions that they're looking for their problems, creating content was really, really easy. And creating content can be this simple. All you do is write down all of the ideas that you have for different content, all of the questions that your ideal client has, the solutions that they're looking for. You've got some inspirational stuff in there that will inspire people. You want to talk about your own stories, your trials and tribulations in business, but you also want to be sharing the solutions and show people that you've overcome the things. So don't be afraid to be inspirational. I probably need to do more of that myself, to be honest. But all of a sudden, if you sit down and you list 100 things, all of a sudden you've got 3 months worth of daily content. So I have 28 lives scheduled in Asana, because I sat down and I came up with about 35 things that I could share with my ideal client. Answers, answering their questions, providing solutions, sharing my experiences, showing them the pathway, which is what I'm actually doing with this live if you're paying attention. So how do you deliver that content? Now, I'm doing 28 days of lives. You don't have to do 28 days of lives. You might go, you know what? I feel this could be a really good written piece. I'm going to blog it. Or you're like, you know what? This only needs a photo and an inspirational post, like a quote. I'm going to quote myself. I'm going to put it up as an inspo post, and I'm going to share in the copy a little bit of a backstory. Done. So there's different ways that you can share this content, but sit down and write it out. Because one of the things when I talk about mindset in business is if you are feeling overwhelmed, it is because you haven't chunked down to small enough tasks, to small enough content pieces. You don't know your niche clear enough to know what it is that you need to do on a daily basis to attract them, to bring them in and invite them to join your tribe. So the way that the brain works is if your hindbrain isn't feeling confident about what's going to happen in the next 24 hours, it's going to find ways to distract you. If you're not confident and it's got any level of fear that it can't keep you safe, now it's operating from the space of like the wild bears are going to come and eat us. We're in the space is like if I do or don't take action could mean I get a client or not, but it can't tell the difference. So the more you chunk down and the more specific you are in your work that you're doing and wanting to create, the easier it is going to be to take the action. And that's why from a systems perspective, I use Asana. So these 28 content pieces daily in Asana. I log into Asana and I know every day the steps I need to take. And suddenly businessing becomes easy. And who doesn't want business to be easy? I've done it the hard way. I don't want it to be hard anymore. I don't want to wake up in the morning going, shit, what the heck do I have to do today to grow my business? What content do I need to create? Nobody wants to get stuck like that. That sucks. Makes life so much harder. So let me rephrase what we've done. Get clear on your niche. Give yourself permission. That's going to help you get clear on your messaging. Start finding out where your clients are going to be and start practice being visible. Practice going live. Join my group if you're a lady. Sorry guys, it's girls only because that's why it's called Chicks That Mean Business. Join any group. Practice your lives, because the good thing about a live, if it really, really sucks, delete it. Save it to your phone and review it, but don't publish it. Delete it. It's easy. See, businessing can be easy, right? So you know where your people are. You go out there, you start sharing this gorgeous, yummy content, answering the questions that they're looking for the solutions to. Get your mindset working and break it all down so you've got daily actions to take. It's called content batching. If you haven't heard that term, it's like sitting down in a day, creating your content, knowing what you need to do, planning it all out, batching it out. You know, I write my newsletters in batches of 4 because I know I'm consistently then telling a story. I can go in and add pieces before they get sent out, but all of a sudden it's this cohesive unit of work. It's not sporadic, random stuff where your people on your newsletter reading it go, oh, we talked about this last week, now we're talking about this. Okay. So it's another way to really engage your potential clients, right? Give me a heart or a thumbs up or something if this is making sense. I do like to talk. But so your mindset is one of the most important things you need to develop in your business. And if you're not doing daily work on that and not setting yourself up through these things that I've been talking about and using your systems, which I'll talk more about in a moment, you're making all of this hard work for yourself. Thanks for the likes and the hearts. Excellent. So let's talk about systems. So back in the day when I was running my first business, where I was planning on saving all of the youth of the world through my experiential games programs and workshops and all of the stuff and the things, I had somebody else who was kind of managing all the tech for me. So I just got to be the face of the business and do the fun stuff. So when that business ended, I then had to learn systems. And I tell you what, my operations manager dragged me kicking and screaming into the world of systems. And I look back now and I see how having a lack of systems really hurt my business. Hindsight is a wonderful thing though, isn't it? Yes, it is. So let's talk about systems. You're probably using systems and potentially sort of not even acknowledging that you are. So, we've got the basic things like, if you've got MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, I've currently got ConvertKit and transferring over to Kartra. That's great. Got my landing pages in there, can store all my subscribers, and I can send my emails out. So that's a pretty important business system these days. Being able to attract people, get them signed up to your list, nurturing them. We all do it. It's part of business. And that was a part of business that I used to really, really resist because, I was fortunate enough that just showing up in groups was getting me the work that I needed. That's another story. We'll talk about that a bit later. So having that set up, but then how do you manage your time? So there's a few different systems. So I use Asana and I use my calendar and I have OneNote. So I use 3 systems in that. But what I do suggest, if you're a little bit fearful of systems, probably I would say start with Asana. Or some people use a system called Trello. So Asana is great. Every day I have my action steps for my launch put in there. And I also have another section in Asana that has my daily business general action steps because I have 2 specific things. I'm managing my business as a whole, and then I have a launch that I'm running. So you can set that up to have your daily content piece, how you're going to share it. You can have it that the groups that you want to show up in. You can have a reminder that maybe you need to email your list. And all of a sudden, from a very small couple of hours of planning, my month is set for the month. And all I need to do is wake up in the morning, turn on my laptop, computer opens up, Asana opens up automatically, and there's the actions I need to take. I kind of feel like I'm cheating a little bit because this feels like so easy. Because it's easy. I've put a little bit of thought in at the start of the month and it's all set up. So check out Asana. There's a free version. I'm pretty sure there's a paid version. Get started on the free. Now, another system that I use is Evernote. So going back to the content and the messaging. So everything I write, I'll save it in Evernote, and I've started saving the date that I shared a piece of content. Because what I want to do is a couple of things. I don't want to have to continually rewrite posts and, offer posts over and over again every week. I want to save time. I want to be smart with my time. And if you're in business, time is such a finite resource. You want to manage that. So I can go back, I can copy and paste, I can refine. And another system that I have is in the Facebook groups that I'm in, I track the copy and the response every week. So I've put up in probably about 4 or 5 groups the Beyond Startup Mastermind this week. So I can go back, I can search my name, I can see all my posts, and then I can look and see which piece of copy is getting the best response. Now, if I've written something and there's no likes, no comments, no nothing, I know that either that group's not working for me, the copy's not working for me, or the time that I've posted isn't working for me. So all of a sudden you can systemize your business. You can actually start pulling out data that's usable for you. Instead of throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping that stuff lands and hoping it sticks and crossing your fingers that somebody is going to see the thing that you need them to see, you can start taking a really measured approach to what you're doing. And then when you get in this routine, life is easy. I keep coming back to that word. I never thought business could be this easy. I know. Who would have thought it, right? So from a systems perspective, if you are not using systems, you are making things a lot harder for yourself. And it goes back to the mindset. What is your mindset around systems? Because that'll be the resistance. Don't attempt to implement all of the systems all at once, because you'll do your own head in. My operations manager, Laura Dick, is a systems goddess. Like, she has made my business so much easier, because before I started working with her, I'd come from a space with my old sales trainer that you had to get people on the phone, you had to sign them up straight away, so a booking system wasn't really needed. But what I found when I shifted away from that model, I was still going through the process of like sending a message, when did you want to talk? They would give a time, I'd check my calendar, they would then check their calendar. And it was just all of this toing and froing. It was very frustrating. So this is why I use Acuity as a booking system. You can get a free version or a paid version. I use the paid version. But you can just set up all your different kinds of appointments in there. And if somebody wants to book it, share the link. They have access to your calendar, they book in. And they can pay that way too. So then you don't have to log into your payment system and type in all the things. You're removing all the manual stuff out of your process. You're automating everything. And if you're not looking at ways to automate things in your business, I want to ask, why not? Why not? Because I know back in the day, for me, working a 12-hour day felt like some sort of trophy, some sort of prize. Like, look at me, I worked 12 hours. And it doesn't actually have to be that way. So start looking at the systems. Whenever you have to do something that takes more than 3 steps, start asking yourself, is there a way I can automate and simplify this? Because chances are there is a way. And even if it takes 1 step, if you're doing 10 steps to book in every single client and you're only booking 3 clients a day, imagine if you were down to 3 steps to book that client, how much more time you would have available to book in even more clients and make more money in your business and help your ideal clients. Can you see how everything interlocks? And if you've just jumped in, you might need to go back to the start. But these are the things that we covered. I was getting a little ranty then. I could feel my voice rising. So I'll go back quickly. Niche. Go deep in your niche. Being generic and bland is not going to help your ideal client find you, because when you're niched, your messaging becomes really easy. So give yourself permission to choose to help the most perfect client for you, for where you're at right now. Because once you've got your niche and messaging right, then you can look at your visibility. Start doing live, start getting on video, start sharing your message. And start looking at where you can share it. And if there's somewhere where you think you should, but you're not, tap into your mindset. Because your mindset is the driver of everything that you do in your business. And if you're feeling overwhelmed in your business, it's because you haven't broken down your tasks into specific enough chunks. And when you do that, it's much easier to create your content. And I was talking about content creation, and it's sitting down because you know your ideal client so well and you know exactly the questions that they have, you know where they're stuck, you know what solutions they need. You can sit down and you can do 3 months of content. You write down 100 ideas, 120 ideas of things that you can do lives on, write a blog on, do an inspirational post on. That's 3 months worth of content outlined already. You plug it into your systems, so a daily action in Asana, all of a sudden, you're not having to use the brain power every day to think, what do I do today? What do I share? And you're using your systems perfectly. So I'm just checking the time. All right, we still got time. Cool. If you have any questions, you can type them in because they'll pop up and I'll be able to answer them. Give us a heart if that sounds like it's all making sense. Because the few more things I want to talk about is courses, products and services, sales, and share a few other things that I've observed from business and I've learned in business. So courses. So there was this big rush for online courses and all of a sudden everyone was doing a course. And I used to specialize in course building for people and teaching people how to create courses that actually delivered the correct content chunks, were engaging, where people were actually able to take on the lessons. And there was a stage where everyone was doing a course and most of them were pretty damn average, I must say. Not tooting my own horn, but people didn't understand, A, how to teach, how to create the courses in a way that worked for their clients. So if you're contemplating your first online course, something I want to highlight, and this is the mistake that I made, and a lot of people are reflecting back now and going, yeah, we rushed into building courses. I'm doing a webinar, The Steps for Successfully Moving Out of Startup. That's on the 4th of July. And this is some of the stuff we're going to be talking about. And it's the phases of business. Now, there's, the three that I work with are startup, growth phase, launching, and then there's scalability. Now, people either stay stuck in startup because they haven't systemized their business and they haven't planned for a growth phase in their business, or they go from startup and then they jump straight into online launching. Now, this was my experience and I've seen it for a lot of people. The first couple of times you launch, you'll go pretty well. But if you haven't operated strategically in the growth phase, you find that launching programs becomes a lot harder, and then you kind of feel like you have to go back to the start and back to the one-on-one. Now, I want to talk about, are you ready for an online course? Does it make sense? Do you have a big enough following and a big enough list and enough clients or enough potential clients on your list that are really keen and hungry to work for you? Because what a lot of people skip is the growth phase and really building up a larger following and consistently sharing free content and creating things that people can opt in for, nurturing their list correctly or at all. And I went through a stage where I wasn't even talking to my list, my pull list. Trudy who? Well, so I fixed that now. So there's stages of business that you need to be aware of. And I'm not saying don't launch an online course, but just have a look at the foundations that you have. Because if you don't have the systems in place, you're going to struggle. You're going to get overwhelmed. You're not going to be able to manage your business. And I've seen it a lot where people's businesses fall apart because they did have a successful launch and all of a sudden they've got 20 people doing a course. They've got no way to manage their time, manage the payments. People aren't paying. They're losing money. They're frazzled and everything falls apart. So make sure you avoid that. So think about where you are. If you're in startup and you want to move into a growth phase to then be ready to go into launch, talk to me about the Beyond Startup Mastermind. But whether you work with somebody else or you work with me, be very aware of going too quickly into that launch phase. Make sure you have those foundations and those systems set up, because I had to go back to the growth phase and start again with that myself. And I also did a massive shift around what I was offering as a band-aid way to recover, but it didn't fix the problem. I hadn't grown a list, I hadn't nurtured the people I had well enough to be able to create a sustainable business that avoided the scramble every week for like, oh my gosh, I need clients. How am I going to pay my bills? And that's what you want to avoid in business. Trust me, learn from my mistakes because I've made a lot of them. I really have. But you know what? I own it. And here's a little distinction for you. This is something I really want everyone to think about. Filter for the lessons. Go back, look at the data. If you've created a free thing that people have to sign up for, how many times have you shared it? And this is a huge one because, I know a lot of people, they share that free thing that they've built, and there's a couple of things can happen. They share it once, maybe in 3 groups, nobody signs up, and they're like, it's a shit freebie, shit opt-in, nobody wants it. And they throw it away and they never do anything with it again. If this is the case, give yourself 4 to 6 weeks to share the thing. And every week, play with the copy. Maybe you need a different picture. maybe you need to tweak that message a little bit. Give yourself some time with that. If after, 4 to 6 weeks you're looking at it and the data is, it's like I've had 100 people go to my landing page and nobody's signed in, chances are your landing page should have been worked on. Or you ask yourself, before you even build your free opt-in thing, what do I think people need? I think they need this. But is that what they're asking for? Chances are it's not. Because when we're creating opt-ins to the solution of the bigger problem, quite often it's too big a jump for people to go from where they are to where you think they need to be. So I would be asking the questions, what is my ideal client looking for right now? What do they need help with? I don't get it right every time, but I'm constantly filtering for that lesson and going, okay, what's working? What didn't? What's my data? Have I given it enough time to actually get some traction? Have I been visible enough? Am I clear enough on my niche's actual problems and what solutions they're looking for? Can you see how it all intertwines? All of the stuff and the things, you can learn it separately and look at it separately, but it really is, your business is this organic piece of stuff and things, that's the technical term, that you do that is all very, very interlocked and intertwined. So, where was I? I was looking at content, courses, visibility, systems, mindset, all of the things. So with your freebies, that's where I was at. I knew I'd get back to it. Start making sure, double check that you're approaching this surface level problem that the client thinks they have. And if they're here and they get the solution that they need, chances are it's actually going to show them the deeper level thing that you actually help them with. So it's a 3-layer thing here to consider when you're building your freebies and your opt-ins. Now, products and services. I used to always call, because I do coaching, I used to always call it a service. But it's kind of like, it is actually a product. So what we do, they are products, even if they aren't sort of things that we can hold in our hands, we deliver them via our service. So it's just something that one of my mentors said to me once, and I was kind of like, yeah, the courses that I run and the mastermind and the one-on-one sessions, I deliver a service, but it is actually also a product. Anyway, I'm going to let you sort of dwell on that one and see what you think about that. Products and services. So back in the day, I had a bazillion products, services, offers, and it went from here to here, and it was all over the place, and it was this big mess, and I just kept creating more and more content and more offers, and it got a little bit out of control. So this is, I did a session with Renee Hasseldine last year, and we looked at the core elements of the products and services that I was doing. And we actually narrowed it down. And we took the core things that I was teaching. So the niche, the messaging, the online courses, the content creation, the mindset, the systems, the sales and the products, all of the things that I'm talking about here. And we gave it we looked at it in a different perspective. And instead of having to create all of the things over here and have a funnel for like every single thing and making the mess, we took the core elements of what I did and then we sort of offered it at different levels. So for the startups, it was, a basic sort of, let's look at your niche, let's get that first product sorted, let's look at your mindset and a basic system. Then that next level, we then went more into the courses and the content creation, but it was still the core elements. And then the one-on-one package was really intensive. And then we moved into the mastermind, but everything was the same. Because what I see, a lot of women are going out there and they're learning this modality, then this modality, then they're learning this process, they're learning this thing here, and they've learned 50 things and they're attempting to squash all of the things into all of the packages. So you can streamline and simplify your products and services by picking those core things and then just teaching them at a different level. So I found this actually made businessing for me a heck of a lot easier, because all of a sudden the messaging was able to be tweaked and the level of specificity that I was teaching at could shift, but the need to go and learn 100 other new different things faded away. And then it gave me the ability to really focus on what I was doing. So if you're feeling that you have to go out and do all of the things and learn all the things and keep learning and you're getting overwhelmed, streamline your funnel downwards. Teach at different levels, but teach the same core things. Might not work for everyone, but it could be something that would help your business get a lot more focused. All right, it's 1:45. I've been talking for an hour. Any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat, because the chat's coming up now so I can see what you're writing. Give us a heart or a like if you're still there. I know there's 2 people live according to my phone, so I can so I don't feel so lonely. And probably the last thing I'll talk about, and Shanae had a bit of a question around sales, is sales. And sales ties into mindset, sales ties into your systems, sales ties into your services, it ties into how you're connecting with your niche. You need all of those other things to make sales effortless and easy. Now, I love sales. I love sharing my work. I love inviting people to come and work with me. Poor sales, they get a bit of a bad rep, you know, because we're not in the 80s anymore. It's not the, hey, and you get steak knives thing anymore. Hi, Debbie. Glad you're listening. For me, sales is a connected act of service. Now, if you're watching the replay of this and you've lasted this long, or for those who are still live, give me a heart if you like sales. If you don't like sales, write down why, because a lot of people describe sales as being icky. Now, I want to reframe it. If you know your niche and you know what the message is, you know that you can help them, and you know that you're a few steps ahead of them in the process, you only need to be 2 or 3 steps ahead. You don't have to be a guru on a stage to be able to help the people here. And if you 100% believe that you're offering a service, why would you not invite people to come and work with you? So Mandy's written, what do you do when you're working and you just don't know how to complete that task? I've got this bad habit of leaving it forever. Cool, that is a great question. I'll just finish quickly on sales. So if you can reframe it in your own mind that sales is an act of service, and you know, somebody said to me once, when you hide and you don't tell people what you do and you don't ask people to work with you, you're actually robbing them of an opportunity to grow and improve. That kind of made me shake my head a little bit and go, oh, actually, that's a pretty fair point. Because I've done the time, I've done the study, I know my thing. Why would I not want to help people? And for me, asking people to work with me, I find out where they're stuck and they tell me what they need help with. And it's as simple as going, do you need help with that? Because I can help you with that if you're interested. That's selling. It's an invitation. Selling is an invitation. And if you feel bad about it, maybe check in with your techniques, because I've learned some really icky, horrible, fear-based selling processes and I don't use them. I was never comfortable using them. But check in and get into your mindset and do some work around that. Now, Mandy put the question up before, what do you do when you're working and you just don't know how to complete that task? I've got this bad habit of leaving it forever. Okay, well, there's a couple of things. So you might not be using systems. You need to break it down into small enough chunks to avoid the overwhelm. Because if you're leaving it, it means your hindbrain doesn't feel comfortable about taking the action. So break it down into the smallest possible chunk. So if you have to write a compelling piece of copy and that feels too big, break it down. So to do that, well, I need to know my niche, I need to know my offer, I need to sit in front of the laptop, I need to turn the laptop on, and all of a sudden you've got this really simple first step which helps remove the overwhelm from the brain. Now, if you're using a system, you can use something like Asana that will send you reminders that the tasks needs to be done. And something I love about Asana is that every time you tick off a task, once you've done a certain amount, it'll put a unicorn flying across the page, or a phoenix, or a narwhal. It gives you a reward. So that's why computer games are so popular, because it gives you a reward and a dopamine hit. So I suggest you get Asana because that will really help. Oh, and sorry, Sinead. So for sales template, Sinead did ask me about a sales template. So you can script up your whole sales process. And, I have, whether it's with coaching or whether it's the sales process, people say, well, I just do what I do. I don't have a system for it. But chances are you actually are already doing a process. So with your sales, you can do it as simple as I introduce myself, I discuss how the call's going to flow, I find out what their biggest challenge is, I'll give them the first step of the solution so they feel like they've gotten value, and then I will invite them to work with me if I can help them. If they can't pay to work with me, I will either work with them on their mindset if I think it's a mindset issue, or I will direct them to my free things to get them the steps in place that they need so then they can start making money to pay me. So that's a really basic template. You can go as detailed as you want in a sales script. And, somebody said to me once, you're so natural when you talk about sales and you take people through the process. I used to have a script because what I found by having a sales script, it meant that my brain could actually focus on what the person on the call was saying to me, because my brain wasn't worrying about what to say next. I had a little script to follow. Ask them this question, write out the answers, hear what they say. This is the next part, talk about where they're at, talk about where they want to be, tell them about the program, So script it out. So listen, next time you are on a sales call, if you can record it, and then make the bullet points around your process and do a few, and then look for the commonalities and build out a structure that way. So if anyone tells you don't need a sales script, you do if sales terrifies you. If you forget what to say, if you stumble off your words, make yourself a little script and make it easier, because that has been the theme of this whole live. Let business be easy. And be aware of your mindset and any self-imposed rules that you've put in place that don't serve you. Embrace systems. Systems are your friend. They make life so easier. It might take a little while to get used to using it. You might go in a week, oh my gosh, Asana is the best thing ever. However it takes, put those things in place. Wow, it's like 5 to 12, and I feel like I could just talk for hours again. So niching, messaging, content, courses, visibility, product, service, sales, mindset, systems. This is a business. You can't ignore 2 or 3 things and just focus on the things that you want until you're ready to outsource. But even then, you still need to keep your eye on the prize. And that's another thing, when you're moving into the growth phase, you want to start looking at what things you can start to outsource. Even if it's, somebody setting up your newsletters in a template. I love my VA. I'm never going to give up my VA. It's the best thing ever. But until you're ready for a VA, until you're in the growth phase and making consistent income to be able to do that, you need to be aware of all of these things. These are the things that are going to move you out of startup. Now, I've got the free training coming up on the 4th of July. When I get home, I'll pop the link in the comments so you can register for that if you want to make sure you're moving out of startup successfully, or if you know you're out of startup but you're kind of feeling like you're still getting a little stagnant, join this webinar anyway, because we can go back and recover, which is what I've had to do. I'm always very transparent in how I'm going with my business. I had to go back and recover from skipping the growth phase. And this is for you as well if you feel like you're in that space too. So sign up for my free webinar. If you want to talk more about my mastermind, you are more than welcome to get in touch as well. the Beyond Startup Mastermind, because if you're in startup or if you've moved out of startup and you think you might have stuffed it up a little bit, this could be the thing that is going to help you move forward again more powerfully. So I think I've covered everything. Have we got any more questions? Debbie's just only outsourced her Facebook posts. It is awesome. So this is what I get my VA to do. I record all my lives. I save them into a folder. I pick the ones that I want to send out to my newsletter. So I give her the link. I have a template where I fill in all of the content for the newsletter. Just do. She takes that content, sets it up in ConvertKit, makes sure the link to the Facebook Live for people is working. That's all done. She does that. I then give her the recording of the Facebook Live. She edits the end with a business slide for This Chick That Means Business. She uploads it to YouTube. She makes sure any links that I need put in there are linked in and work. She then also does my Facebook scheduling. So I will send her inspirational posts. So I'll tell her this goes on the post. This is the content that gets written in. She schedules all of that. So she'll do a month of scheduling for me, because that's the stuff I don't enjoy. I'm in a space now in my business that I can do that. So these are the things that you know when you're at a startup and you're consistent in your income and you're ready, you're in the growth phase. These are the things that give you that sort of identification points to help you know where you're at. And so then I can focus on building my list, creating awesome free content, doing all those things, which I actually love doing, and looking after my gorgeous clients. And it gives me back time to do that at a higher level, because this is the growth phase, right? So in this phase, then you can start planning out your launch. You can get Asana and you can have, if you're on a 6-week, 8-week launch, you can have all your daily actions written in there. You can Asana a launch, and it's the best thing ever. Oh my gosh. I know I keep raving about Asana. I'm probably going to have to become sort of referral person for them. But business is easy that way. And Debbie's like, yep, YouTube, webinar, newsletters, they're next on her list. You are not going to know yourself, Debbie, when that stuff's all starting to happen. And if you are looking for a VA, I have an Australian-based VA. She's awesome. I'm more than happy to refer you to Jamie. She's an absolute gem. I've got my operations manager, who's the systems goddess, which is Laura. I'm more than happy to do shameless plugs for my people because I love them. Laura Dick, she can help you with system stuff. Jamie can help you with VA stuff, even if it's only newsletters and you want to get that sorted, hit me up. I'll sort you out. I know all of the people. But it's nearly 12 o'clock. I think I'm talked out now. I think I'm nearly done. Are there any more questions? This is the kind of stuff we talk about in my Facebook group. So search for Chicks That Mean Business. You're more than welcome to come and join in, ladies. But if there's no more questions, in case you're wondering around the background, I'm performing at the Hedonistic Business Jam next Wednesday, and so we came to Renee's house. We are doing the most awesome introduction piece for the event. I'm like, I'm so excited. So this is why I have don't have my normal black backdrop, and that's why there's a dog running around in the backyard, because you all know I don't have a dog. So thank you, Mandy, for watching. If any questions come up afterwards, thank you, Debbie. Any other questions come up, post them in the comments. Please feel free to share this live with your friends, because the more people that are aware of this kind of content and can look at their business and step back and look at their business and go, okay, cool, I've got this working, that's not working, I'm a little stuck here. Oh, I didn't even know that I needed this. The more successful business women we're going to have out there, because this is the most empowering time for women to step up and own their message and own their voice. So thank you so much for joining me, and when I get home, like I said, I'll put the link for the free training on the 4th of July in the comments. Any other questions, post them below, and as always, here's to your business success.